Hey Fridge fans, Tech here. I'm at ConnectiCon in Hartford, Connecticut. There are some spectacular guests here, and I had the pleasure of talking with several of them. Guys, this is kind of a big deal. I am here with two of the greatest voice actors of my animation viewing life. I am with Mr. Opportunity and the voice of Lexus.
Yeah, that's right. Well
And
said.
you're still not getting a car out of it.
Yeah, we're not getting a freaking car
Yeah,
out of it.
That's right.
I'm here with Rob Paulsen and Maurice LaMarche, known to you as Pinky and the Brain, as Raphael and Egon, as Donatello and Calculon. The list goes on. I'm not going to list them all because we'll be here all night. Guys, thank you so much.
But you have to pick which one of those is an actual team.
Yeah, thanks, man, and thank
The
you very much.
Donatello and Egon show never really took off.
I like that, Donnie Egon.
I don't know why. Donegan.
Donegan. There you go, Donegan here tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all brains on that team.
Do your Egon
There's
Spengler.
only half brains on this team.
I want to hear the
Dr. Egon Spengler collects spores, mold, and fungus.
I love that. I love that. No, thanks, buddy.
Donatello, what are we going to do tonight?
I'm going to try to collect spores, mold, and fungus. I could probably do it from the last girl I dated. Good night, everybody.
Well, guys, first of all, I gotta congratulate you, Maurice, on your 5th Emmy nomination.
Thank you.
And Rob, you as well, because Turtles has been nominated as well.
Turtles have been nominated, and we have a friendly competition. One of these Ninja Turtles was nominated for a Primetime Emmy.
Outstanding
along
animated
with,
program, along with
Futurama. Yeah.
So we're both in shows that are up for Best Animated Show that night.
It's
and it's wacky.
It's a huge honor, and it's a really huge honor on behalf of the Turtles production crew, because it kind of speaks to how great the show is, and I think it's because it's being made by people about your age, folks who grew up watching the Ninja Turtles, who arguably get it better than the folks who produced it when we did it initially. Not taking anything away from them because it became the Ninja Turtles, but these folks producing it now really grew up with the mythology and the ethos and a huge respect for the characters and the fan base. They are total turtle geeks, and they've been charged with the responsibility of making the show, and it's working.
As a fan, I can see that because I've been watching it and I see the mythos popping up, the old characters getting new interpretations, and it's been highly enjoyable.
Thanks, man.
And Futurama, we are tremendous fans of ourselves, so we really get our show too. And no, I mean we're this was our last season.
How many episodes did you guys do?
The past summer, I think 126.
That's really unusual.
7 seasons.
You know, unless you're on The Simpsons or the original Turtles, right? It's very unusual to go to 100+ episodes.
Yeah, we're very fortunate in that way, and it's a nice way to say goodbye, or at least see you in a while. We hopefully will come back in some form or another, whether it's maybe a Futurama feature film, or Futurama flip books. Who knows? And then you get a little MP3 and you flip the book and more boys please, and that's it. That's all you get. I don't know. Somehow or another, I just don't feel like we're dead and buried. I think we're just kind of resting.
Yeah, man.
For a little longer. But this was our swan song season for now, and it's really an honor to be nominated, both as a show and for me as an actor. I was just so stunned and surprised, and everybody in that cast deserves a nomination in the Outstanding Character Voice category. And I was especially hoping Billy West would get nominated, because that guy, I tell you, he's a genius, and he is the show. There's no show without Billy. He's Fry, he's Zoidberg, he's the Professor, he's Zap. I mean, he's powering the show all by himself. So not taking anything away from Katie and John. I mean, Bender's the breakout character. Would love to have seen them got nominated too. But I'm honored, and the committee has spoken, and I'm honored by the nomination. So,
with Netflix and Yahoo and Amazon picking up shows left and right, who knows? There may be a future for Futurama.
Animaniacs is on Amazon Prime.
yeah.
And I presume Mo, and I know that we will if we're not already. I'm already working on proprietary product just for Netflix and Hulu. My son doesn't even have cable or satellite. He buys Hulu and Netflix for $8-9 a month, watches what he wants to watch when he wants to watch it, and DreamWorks is producing, I think, 8 or 9 shows just for Netflix. So clearly the whole paradigm of how people consume entertainment is changing. And there was a time when it scared me, and now it really doesn't anymore. Now I'm kind of fascinated to see it and be part of it, and you can either be freaked out and go, oh my God, it's not, or just say, dude, that's what, you better jump on the train, and it's, if it's good enough for, for Stephen and Jeffrey and, the other fellow, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
So yeah, and Steven Spielberg and
Jeff Katzenberg and
what you mean
DreamWorks,
SKG, David Gandalf. Yeah, David Gandalf.
David.
Boy, I have been.
David Geffen.
Geffen.
Gandalf. If it's good enough for Gandalf.
That's
or even Geffen.
I've been at this con too long.
Yeah.
Gandalf.
So what
David
I meant
Geffen.
was, if it's good enough for the biggest in the business, then it's something I need to accept, and I'm grateful to be jumping on it. It's cool.
Awesome. Now, this is brutally honest. I'm not BSing you guys in any way. The episode where you were Talking Tunes, where you were on at the John Lovitz Comedy Club, is the one I have listened to the most. And because every time I laugh, I know what the jokes are, but I laugh every time. When you ordered the bucket of beef.
See, and all of it, as usual, was not scripted. It was absolutely Maurice's brain, no pun intended.
Yes.
And you know what's interesting also, Rob, is that if you talk to Chris Hardwick, whom we all love and know as the Nerdist, and his podcast is the mother of all podcasts, he will tell you that out of all that he's done, we are in the top probably 4 or 5 for many reasons, not the least of which is that Chris is a huge fan of Maurice's from his stand-up days. And when Mo got turned loose, man, it was great, spectacular.
Yeah, I met Chris when he was just starting stand-up himself, and he was like this hot young stand-up comedian, and I couldn't believe I'd been out of comedy for 5 years already, and I couldn't believe there was this guy that had all this heat, and he was coming up to me going, "Oh, young comedian special, I love you," and he's just the greatest guy, and he still keeps in touch no matter. I mean, he's the head of an empire now.
He was on my podcast.
And
I was listening to that one on the way here today.
Phone number, I can't
he
believe.
didn't need to do it. He's just a really terrific kid. And, And
youngster, fine young youngster.
Yeah, and the power of his podcast. My podcast is doing pretty well, but when Maurice and I were on his show and he plugged my podcast, within a week my podcast was #1 on iTunes, only because of the Nerdist bump.
Yeah.
So Chrissy is really inspirational.
I guess that would have been a good week for me to start a podcast, wouldn't it have?
Yeah.
Oh well. I just want to be the last guy without a podcast.
So speaking of Talking Tunes, and to couple in with what you're working on, Maurice, you have put together the mother of all podcasts for the 22nd. It's like the all-stars of voice acting for the 7D.
What it is, well, and Maurice is part of it. On the 22nd, thank you for saying it, we're doing a podcast, a live one at the Improv, which is where I do my Talking Tunes shows now. Mo has done that a couple times there. But our good friend, genius producer extraordinaire Tom Ruger is his latest extravaganza is the 7D for Disney, of which Maurice is a part.
I play Grumpy.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Typecasting. So Pat Brady, my producer, and I are going to have Tom on and the cast of the 7D, and we're going to talk about how that came about, and the audience will love it because it's a who's who of voice actors in Hollywood. If you can't be in Hollywood on the 22nd at 8 p.m. at the Improv, you can listen to it on the following Friday, which I guess will be the 25th, the 26th, and it will be on Talking Tunes with Tom Ruger and the cast of Disney's The 7D.
Man, that's just Dee Baker and Billy West, and yeah, it's going to be an overload for the ears.
Yeah, and people that not only are great friends, but like Mo said, Billy. Well, they're all just a tour de force, and that's why when people say, "Who's your favorite guest?" It's not just trying not to hurt people's feelings. They're all freaking amazing. How can you choose, right? They're just astonishing.
Yeah.
And there's also news from the Animaniacs front. You and Randy Rogel have a new project.
Yeah, Randy and I, who wrote, Randy, who wrote virtually all of the songs that people know, the United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, all that. Randy
And yourself.
Yeah, and I are going to be doing a musical Animaniacs evening, and we've been working on it
With an
for years.
80-piece orchestra.
Yeah, at the Colorado Symphony in Denver. That's where we're starting. Our goal is to get it around the country. I believe there's an audience for it. I certainly, if it's based on the response we get at conventions, I know there is. So it's great fun. And ultimately, what's cool is we can do several different permutations of it. We can do an evening with music. We can do a little Pinky and the Brain thing where we show cartoons, combine it with a band. I mean, there are so many ways we can do it. And this is the first one in Colorado. So thank you it'll be at the Betcher Center on the 26th of September.
You bet your ass it's going to be a great
That's right.
evening.
You bet your Animaniacs. So come on out and see us.
It's going to be one of my questions was it was going to tour, because if it comes to the East Coast, I'm there.
Yeah, well, I think it's doable. I mean, if they can do Bugs on Broadway at Lincoln Center or Carnegie, there's no reason that we can't do an Animaniacs music show at the Hollywood Bowl. For God's sake, we lampooned Hollywood all the time, and I submit that show would be very successful in Hollywood or New York.
So Maurice, I got to ask you, are the rumors true? Is there going to be a Space Jam 2? Because I saw you credited as Pepe Le Pew on the internet.
I saw that too, and I know nothing about it. Nobody has talked to me, and yet I don't know who's monitoring the IMDb. Maybe there is, and I just don't know yet. But I don't know anything about it. I swear to you.
That's fine. I figured I'd go to the source. But the last thing I want to ask you guys about, kind of off topic, but still, mainly off of a tweet I saw you put out, Rob. What do you guys watch on TV? Because I finally have somebody to talk to Penny Dreadful about.
That's the show that I'm really hooked on right now is Penny Dreadful, and it is anything but. It's freaking amazing. It's like oh my God, it's like your favorite horror movies come to life with the cast of Downton Abbey. I mean, and it isn't the cast of Downton Abbey. It's just so beautifully produced and typical, like a horror Downton Abbey. Eva Green is just a joy. Tim Dalton. Oh my God, the actor, the American actor that
Josh Hart.
Really a joy to watch.
I gotta get into this show.
Oh, you do. David Warner did like a 3 or 4 story arc as Van Helsing. Unbelievable. So I love that. I love Veep, makes me laugh from my soul. Homeland. Still love Mad Men. There's so much great Game of Thrones and Modern Family and hockey and golf and Formula One racing. So yeah, I like a lot of stuff.
Like my friend, Game of Thrones.
And Vikings.
Don't watch Vikings. Game of Thrones, for me, Dexter, which is now over. But I recently got into Mr. Selfridge.
I haven't seen that.
It's not a genre show. It's the story of Harry Selfridge, who started Selfridge's department store in London in 1909.
Yeah.
It's a British production. It's like where the people of Downton Abbey would go shopping.
Real highbrow.
But he brought the concept of the department store
Interesting.
to the UK.
Pre-Harrods.
Pre-Harrods. Well, Harrods was already there, but Selfridge was the one who decided to make shopping a joy, and it looks like Harrods kind of copies him a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I got into that, and just now getting into Luther, picking up Luther in season 1. What a show this is. This Idris Elba is an amazing actor. Great writing on the show. So that's my binge watching now is episodes of Luther.
There's so much great stuff. I mean,
and Mad Men. I can't.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about Netflix. I mean, I love House of Cards, and for 2 years on the new Turtles, Leonardo was Jason Biggs, who was on Orange Is the New Black. Great show, produced by created and produced by Genji Cohen, who did Weeds, which I also love. So it's really interesting. The whole paradigm used to be broadcast TV, then it went to sort of cable had all the cool stuff, and now cable still got cool stuff, but now it's stuff for this. And it's Oscar winners like Kevin Spacey, right? It's so interesting. I really feel grateful to be working in a time where all of this stuff is changing, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. It's pretty cool.
Guys, I cannot thank you enough. As a fan, as a kid who grew up with everything, almost everything you've ever worked on. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
It's great to talk to you again.
Thank you, Maurice. Rob, thanks so much. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Dad Brain, what are we going to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world, but first, visit Open the Fridge.
They're Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane.